And I think by then we'll all be here.
Sounds good, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Good afternoon. I'm now going to call a meeting of the Norfolk County Commissioners to order. This is Wednesday, June 23rd.
February.
I'm sorry, it's Wednesday, February 23rd. I'm going to ask everyone to join with me in saluting the flag and then call the roll. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one
of
nation,
nation, under God,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. By way of explanation, this meeting is going to be temporarily recessed, and we're going to have a joint meeting in about 15 minutes with our Finance Committee of our Advisory Board, at which time we're going to hear first budget of the 2023 budget cycle. So I'm going to call the roll, do a couple of items, then go back to the joint meeting. I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Stady
Present.
and Commissioner Shea is present. We have a quorum.
So after cremation, where would you be going?
On Thursday, March 12, 2020, Governor Charles Baker issued an order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Chapter 38, Section 20. That order was effective immediately, and until it is rescinded, a state of emergency is terminated. On February 12, 2022, by action of the legislature, this order was extended until February 15, 2020. I'm going to skip over number 3, which is the Facility Maintenance Department budget, and I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the minutes of the February 16th open meeting of the Norfolk County Commissioners.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second it. All in favor of accepting the minutes of February 16th as approved?
Oh, wait, did you take attendance? I'm sorry.
I
Did you
did.
take a roll call?
I did.
Okay, sorry. No, I'm multitasking here. Sorry. Okay, that's fine. Yep, all in favor.
All in favor of the budget? Aye, it is a vote.
Yes, sir.
I mean, the
Minutes.
minutes of last week's meeting. Okay. I noticed some folks here, so we're going to go to number 2, which is the public comment section. I'm going to open it up now for any folks who have public comment. I know there are 2 here, the registry of deeds, and then we'll go from there. So, ladies,
Thank you, Commissioner.
speak right up.
Here for help with some understanding. Oh, I'm Linda Austin. And I work across the street at the Registry of Deeds. Before you counter, and Leah is the treasurer of the local union. Just for a sense of understanding, thank you, regarding ARPA money. 132 million approximately received here in Norfolk County. Maybe half of that has arrived. Yes, okay.
Well, I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
I'll be happy to
Just
answer what I
again,
can.
an understanding in the categories that we can use to spend that money listed online, some water sewer revenue replacement, public health,
Broadband
broadband. Okay, good, thank you.
and others.
And others. With regard to municipalities who want access to some of that ARPA money, they must complete a grant application. There's that process. Is it reviewed by a CPA firm and then a law firm, and then it arrives here to the director?
Within reason, but I mean, it's a lot more detailed than that, but yes.
Okay, talking real elementary, maybe preschoolish here, understanding, thank you. And then to the commissioners, eventually to approve the application. Okay. If we can take the city of Quincy as an example, because I've listened to some meetings and I'm hearing that some employees in the city of Quincy have received some pandemic pay. It's also my understanding that the city of Quincy said yes to funds from the CARES Act. Would that be correct? I'm just, oh, okay, and I use the city.
I'm assuming they did, but
Okay, I use the city of Quincy, I know that you
Keep going.
have that vested interest. The city of Quincy would have also received their own ARPA funds, separate from any funds that they may apply for and receive from the county.
3 communities over 50,000 in population received a separate from the county money, an opera
Okay,
money.
All communities see non-entitlement.
Quincy was, you picked a bad example. Quincy is one of those big three. They're exempt. You should be looking at other towns. Quincy, Brookline, and Weymouth were kind of exempt and carved out their own little separate amount of money that they received. So you can't, it's not a really good example to the speaker. You should be looking at other towns. But
Right,
anyways,
and they're also, are eligible for money that the county received. And in
Right.
fact,
But Quincy's getting a larger amount compared to, like, say, a Canton or a Milton or a Stoughton, or if you look at other towns like that, they're getting a huge amount, and it's not. It's just the way it is. That's the way it rolled out.
okay,
Right.
thank you very much. So do we, number one, do we know the funding source of money that Quincy employees have received and who those Quincy city employees might be? In other words, are they fire? Are they secretaries? Are they, does this even belong in this forum? I guess I'm asking.
I don't know, and I want,
Okay.
whatever you say, I'm going to take under advisement, but when you say, do we know who Quincy paid and everything, I don't. I assume all employees that were working during the COVID got paid. I don't know that. And I know that if you're gonna, I know they weren't paid out of opera money that they're gonna get from us because their applications are pending and we haven't given Quincy any money. So
A little further along, the county's ARPA funds, of those 3% may be allotted for administrative fees. Last week, 10,000, because I did watch the meeting and then hit on my, about 4 different times, Commissioner Stady, I hit the reverse button so that I could go back and understand clearly your motion for approving the $10,000 for 3 individuals. And also I appreciated understanding that there was no end date in that motion because any money with an end date voted toward an individual's salary, pension, would not be able to be applied as a bump in their salary. And therefore they wouldn't be able to collect on that pension with that additional $10,000 over the course of a few years. Anybody want, I'm
gonna have to take all of you. I wish you would put this in writing because
okay, I'll do
some
that.
of what you're saying I'm familiar with, but
Okay,
um,
I'll send an
It is-
email.
Yeah, I'm
What's up,
confused as to
Mike?
what is, I'm confused. I'm losing the point of what the question of the speaker, which I respect. You're basically rehashing the
Yeah.
ARPA, the CARES. We did Norfolk County, my understanding, Norfolk County, before I became a commissioner, voted not to accept the CARES Act. So we did not get any CARES money per se, Linda, okay?
Yes, that's
Through the
my
chairman.
understanding.
They did not,
Yeah.
we don't have CARES money. Quincy
Yes.
did, Canton did, Stoughton did, Milton did. They received that through the state. Plymouth
Yeah.
County took the CARES money, good or bad, right or wrong. We don't have CARES money. The only money we have right now is ARPA. And if you're looking indirectly for money to pay off your stipend or the money you're looking at, that's a negotiable item, which is not proper to talk about at this time. We should not be talking about that. That's a subject of negotiation. And the money we may look at may or may not contain ARPA, but we've laid it out very clearly. I don't understand. Towns have been applying, towns are getting money. We've already given out, like, I think 5 or 6 grants to towns, a public record. It's on our portal. Towns have gotten the money, they've gotten the aid. I don't understand what all these questions are about today. I'm really confused.
No, and I apologize, Commissioner Stady, if that's what you were hearing me say about, honestly, I really am rehashing information that I've heard by watching the commissioners' meetings and just want to make sure that I'm understanding it correctly. Not asking for any pandemic money today or how that relates to anything, just want an understanding of the funds, I guess, that
Right. But there's a small amount of the money, opera money, which we publicly stated we would use for administrative costs. And this has always been vetted. This was vetted through, again, public discussion. And as part of that administrative fee, we felt that the administration of the opera was beyond the original scope of the job of the people who got the extra money. And so that was the vote we took last week. And I think it's money well spent. And I think I stand behind that. They're doing a great job on it. Every town we go to tells us what a great job Norfolk County is doing with the opera program. So, I think we're pretty straightforward on that.
Yeah, and really just, rehashing to make sure I have a sense of understanding, because I think during your meeting last week, I was also hearing a reference to Plymouth, and that they have hired someone for $125,000 to
Right.
administer.
Right.
Whether that's a one-time.
That's our
thing.
understanding.
I think it was Bristol. Bristol did that. Bristol hired, I believe Bristol went forward with an idea of hiring a person separately at the cost of $125,000,
Yes.
perhaps a year, to administer the cost of the program. So, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I think really it was for my own personal understanding to, gain the knowledge of how this will all be disseminated, who will, be overseeing that, and if it's a bump in someone's pension, well, touche. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Great.
All right. Anything, I'd like you to put all that in writing, but we have we're getting ready to open negotiations about that subject. Is it March 25th?
I'll be bringing that up in my direction.
Okay, it's on today's agenda, later in the agenda.
Thank
So
you.
wanted, Mr. Chairman, to
Go
what
ahead.
the speaker, if I could, the speaker though spoke about Quincy, and I believe, it's a dangerous thing to assume intent, but she spoke about how much did Quincy give their employees out of opera and perhaps out of pandemic pay or CARES pay. It would be nice to know that, and we get a breakdown of that. But again, we don't have any control of Quincy. We don't control the towns. We're only, kind of more or less regulating our own county. But I don't know. I can't answer that question on Quincy. I'd have to do some research.
Thank you again.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
We appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Okay, ladies. Do we have any other items for public session?
No, sir.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
I see you, Liz. Go ahead.
Mr. Mike Dennehy, Town Administrator in
Hey.
Milton, if I could have a second.
Absolutely. I was just going to recognize you. Good afternoon, and this is Mike Dennehy, Town Manager of the Town of Milton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. I just want to thank you. Those of you that don't know, Friday will be my last day as Town Administrator, and I just want to thank all of the work of these three commissioners, our representative, Joe Reardon, and everybody that works for the county. It's been a wonderful 5 years, and the relationship with the county has been so strong, both through Joe and through the current members sitting on the commission and everyone else. I hear the talk of ARPA today, and it just reminds me how efficient this group was at getting this money out through Mr. Buckley and Mr. Cronin and everyone behind the curtain. So I just want to bid adieu and just say thank you for everything. It's been a great relationship. Anne Marie Fagan, who I succeeded, is the interim administrator in Milton, and she'll carry that forward for us. But to all three commissioners, Mr. Reardon, Mr. Buckley, Mr. Cronin, and anyone who I didn't mention that works for the county, thank you. It's been a great relationship, and my pleasure working with all of you.
Okay, Mike, well, we want to congratulate you, and it has been a smooth sail, and the town is losing a terrific public employee and someone who has demonstrated that he understands as much as you can in this business, and he's willing to adapt and change with all the changes, but it's been a tough couple of years for everyone, needless to say. And we wish you well.
Thank you, sir. This has been
Can we find out where you're going yet?
sure. So I'm going to the electric vehicle charging industry.
Electric vehicle charging industry.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Great area to get into, up and coming. There really
Thank you.
is. I see more and more regulations in terms of zoning that are now going to mandate that those stations are now part of site plan approval. You're probably unaware of that. You're seeing that. Listen, Mike, you still owe me a coffee. You're not getting
That's
off
right.
easy. All right?
Yeah.
So it
Matt,
was nice
myself and
working.
Matt Carlton will join you for that cup of coffee, Commissioner.
You're not relocating, you're staying in Weymouth, Milton. We know how to find you, right?
Yes,
All right.
I will be a town meeting member next Monday morning. I'll be pulling papers, so.
All right.
But
It was
again, this
great
is-
to,
But for those
Nice to work with
watching
you.
on
I
the
wanna wish
public,
you well.
I can just reinforce, I've been in government for 27 years. What takes place at the county level with this group of people can only be qualified as good government. It really is.
you.
We're in unprecedented times. Things are new, things are ever changing, but at the end of the day, it's the delivering of service through the tax dollars, and none better than this group and Mr. Reardon represents. So, thank you again.
Thanks, Mike. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon. Best wishes.
Thank you. Okay, I do believe, I know we have 4 members of the advisory board
Yes, we have a
finance
quorum.
committee.
We have a
So-
quorum, Commissioner.
I'm going to ask
Eric
you
there.
to call your
Yeah.
meeting
I am
to
finally
order.
on.
Yeah,
Elizabeth, if you'll take your roll, call your meeting and take your roll, and then we'll go into the the maintenance budget.
okay. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Finance Committee as part of the joint meeting with the commissioners today. I think I will read that thing just to be sure we do everything correctly. On Thursday, March 12th, 2020, Governor Baker issued an order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, chapter 30A, section 20. That order was effective immediately until it is rescinded or the state of emergency is terminated. On Wednesday, June 16th, 2021, by action of the legislature, the order was extended until April 1st, 2022. So calling the meeting to order, roll call, Eric Beckerman,
Here.
Paul Connors,
Here.
Joe Reardon,
Here.
Carl Baldoff, Elizabeth Childs here. We have a quorum. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're ready.
Okay, we're going to switch back on our agenda to the joint meeting on our 1:30 appointment with the maintenance department. This is the first meeting with the maintenance department relative to their fiscal year 23 budget proposal. With us is Department Head John McGowan. I'm going to ask him to come up and sit with us. And Sheila Carroll of the Maintenance Department, Assistant Director. So I'm going to open it up. It is our intention today it is in our initial meeting. I hope everyone has been supplied with a copy of the budget. We did receive it in a timely manner on or about February 11th, I believe. I'm going to synopsize a little bit of it, and then I'm going to open it up for John and Sheila, and then since we're in a joint meeting, we can ask our questions together. Let's let it flow, so we're all doing well. What I've done is taken a look at the total budget, and I'll just start with the total figure here, which I just looked at, and now I can't find it, but these great eyes of mine, is it 1 million? Yes. 1,000,005, does that sound right? 1,000,009. No, it's 1,980,873 dollars.
Total budget.
All right, I'm sorry. Give me another minute on the total budget. $3,541,363.58. Is that last year's budget?
That's the proposed, that's what he's filing right now.
Okay, and proposed today, we have $3,520,143.18. I have a complete breakdown. I think you'll see, like all of our budget, 70-odd% of it is is personal services. I'm going to ask some personal service questions. We are currently finished our negotiations. We're getting ready for reopeners on or about March 25th with the union for the next whatever package we come up with. None of that is reflected in here because we don't know what it is.
The departments were asked not to include any. COLAs
Right.
next year.
The departments have not included any COLA or anything until we make our settlement, until we negotiate it. So this budget, as you see it, is based on today's dollars, what people make today, et cetera. In addition to the budget, there's some comments from last November from John relative to the Abraham's report. You'll see it in your package dated November 10th, 2021. That's on the table. Also, the commissioners have been supplied with a document from Director Cronin highlighting the differences between the present budget and things that maybe or things that the Abraham's group has suggested, as well as some other stuff. So I think we have all the raw data that we need. Since this is the first budget, and over the next 5 or 6 weeks, we'll hear them all, one a week. And then we'll try to stick to the calendar that was proposed, Madam Chair, with your group, and then we'll hopefully get it all wrapped up by May or June of this year. I think last year we were meeting right into August, or maybe that was the summer before, but hopefully that won't happen again. Maybe we have the tools and things to get it done before then. But whatever it is, it is the crux of all that we do. I do want to see some changes implemented based on the Abrams report. I know there's a give and take. I know there's some bargaining issues that'll come up, but from day one, it was the intention of this board to have another set of eyes look at everything. Some people accept it better than others. I don't think necessarily, I don't think it's a positive, I think it was a positive move, and I hope that it'll prove to be money well spent to move us closer to where we should be. It's a changing world, and certainly we went through a lot. I hate to keep bringing up COVID, but it comes up in everything we do, but we've got to keep moving and keep the county going. We got to talk about regionalization. We got to talk about streamlining this place to maybe relieve some of the burden that goes to the cities and towns and everyone with us. So having said all that, I'm going to open it up for the commissioners and anyone else that has a question. I don't know if John has an overall statement other than his letters, but
Well,
okay. You want to, you're going to,
I
all
just want
right.
to give the finance committee a brief update on the schedule ahead, if you don't mind, John.
The good point. Since this is the first, I'm flying by my wings here, but I'm going to call on Director Cronin to give an overview, and then we'll launch into John and Sheila.
Thank you, Commissioner. For the Finance Committee's benefit, I just wanted to revisit the schedule, which I believe you should have. But as Commissioner Shea indicated, today is the first of 3 weeks in a row that we will be conducting budget reviews. It will end on March 9th with the final budgets being reviewed. Currently, as you may know, we have hired a firm to come in and format the content that is in Budget Sense. That is the platform that all the departments have input their proposals into. The platform does not have canned reporting templates ready yet. The consultant will be preparing that and readying it. Some of you may remember in years past, the presentation of the budget came to you via the formatting available in Excel. So we're merging and moving into a new realm. Again, I want to make it clear that I believe you folks are scheduled to meet March 23rd. My hope is that by March 16th or the week of, we will have draft budgets for all submitted departments and projected revenue available as a first run draft for your review on the 23rd. Following that, of course, we'll move into April with our public hearings, the advisory board and so forth. So as we set the table today, I just wanted to help the Finance Committee understand through Dr. Childs that we're hoping to have more formal looking budgets presented to you in the aggregate following the presentation over the next 3 weeks of these budgets. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, just a point of order, if I can get, well, like you said, you're flying at the seat of your pants. It's our first one, so forgive me as well. I have in front of me, and we did receive from Mr. McGowan and Director Cronin, the salary request for fiscal 23 for the maintenance budget. That's all broken down. I have that. I have the letter that Mr. McGowan wrote where he disagreed on some points on the Abraham report. I also have a letter. It's kind of a general letter. It just generally states what he'd like to see. Did he also submit, or are we looking for the expenses? I don't have that in front of me. Where's the other side of the budget? All I have is like the budget for the funding of people. But isn't there more to it? Like, equipment and things like that go into it? Or is this the budget? My budget is 1,980,000 and some change. Is there something missing I don't have?
Yes.
What it was? That's all I'm asking.
Commissioner Stady, the facility maintenance budget request was prepared in an Excel format. As I mentioned, it's raw data. And it was provided, I believe, last night through Mr. Buckley. If you did not receive it, that you have our apologies. But he's
I do not
posted.
have that. Okay.
He's posted.
I don't
it
have
on
that.
He's posted it on the View right now. And you'll notice the facility maintenance totals for FY '23 a request of $3,541,363.58. That's
Okay.
up from their request in FY '22, the approved budget of $3,520,143.18. Bill, if you'd be so kind, if you can increase the size of that, a little hard to read.
Is that, okay, stay with me now. So it's about $20,000 increase?
That
what you're saying?
that is what's proposed by facilities.
Okay, that's just, I need that for John's presentation. All right, good. Thank you. I'm all set. All right, thank you. Thank you. Did not have that.
Okay,
Does John want to talk and go over his budget with us? or-
I have it in front of me here, a few things that we're asking you to consider. Is overtime salaries, an increase of 10,000 to allow for OSHA training for the facility maintenance employees.
Mhm.
The reason for that is the classes, I can only get everybody together on a Saturday. So it'll be a 2 Saturday operation from the trainer that's going to train them in safety. And that's why I have, that's in salary code 5120.
great.
That's, like I said, 10,000 for overtime. In the group 2, natural gas code is 222. We increased the gas money by 10,000 because I'm assuming and I'm sure that it's going to go up. And we want to be able to have enough money in the budget to take care of it. And the education code is 241. I increased that by 14,000 to allow for the OSHA training to be scheduled for all facilities, maintenance, tradesmen, roving utilities, senior custodians, to be held on 2 Saturdays. So in order to get them all together,
You have to pay.
I have to pay, have them come in on a Saturday for, I think it's going to be 5 hours each. It's a 10-hour OSHA class, I believe.
John, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
I told you I didn't plan to add any color to your presentation, but this item I couldn't agree with you more on. One of the things the county recognizes is that there are incidental incidences that occur with workers throughout the course of their day, their work. Inevitably, because of the work that the facility maintenance people do, they find themselves injured or harmed during their work. The workers' comp cases that the county pays for are by far a result of most injuries that are affecting the employees within facility maintenance. And furthermore, there was a recent incident involving one individual with a very serious on-the-job injury that was very unfortunate. So any kind of training for these workers to understand better, smarter ways to do their job, to keep themselves safe and their coworkers safe, couldn't agree with it more. I think it'll pay for itself in large part down the road through safer working conditions. So thanks for putting it forward. I appreciate it.
I believe it should help them, a lot of them rush into stuff without thinking. And I think it'd be a lot of, they learn something. I took a 10-hour course, iron working, about 5 different times. And they teach everything. The OSHA training guy, it goes through just about everything. And
Is this something that, since John interrupted you, let me jump in. Is this something mandated that we have to do or we
No.
want to do?
no, you don't have to do it. it's for our benefit in the long
I
run.
understand that.
I don't want
I just
guys I don't want them out hurt, and it helps us keep them working. That's what we hired them for, to work, not to be
They've
out.
done this in the past, John? All right, don't get defensive.
No,
I'm just
I-
asking. Have
I
they
never-
done this in the past, OSHA training?
No, I never had it done before. I used to hold safety classes, for the guys that I was working with, but I can't get them all together at one time. And
Okay, I
this would
understand.
accomplish that.
Just trying to understand it, John. So this is something not mandated, strongly recommended. I understand the reasons, and this is what you'd want to propose. All right, I'm set on that. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, that's fine. I think I had a similar question. If we spent, last year, we had 103,000 in that category. Without embarrassing anyone, did we spend all 103,000?
I don't think so. No.
No, there's still money in that account, which comes
Yes,
back
we
to
did
us at the end of the
102, yeah.
season. Okay, that's good news. This year it says 113, and the reason being, you have to pay the people for that Saturday, and you must have to pay the trainer.
Yes.
So that's the
I
10,000.
think that's the 14,000.
Yeah, the 14,000.
Okay,
But in order to get them to show up, I'm making it mandatory that they show up.
and they get paid.
And they get
overtime.
paid.
I understand. Is there any questions on that item? I think,
Commissioner, Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I just have a basic question of the recommendations from Mr. McGowan that we're seeing. Are they already baked into the total of the budget request?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, all right, thank
It's
you.
in,
They're not
it's in there, and it
Okay,
reflects
thank
this, it's 10,000 or 14 more than last year.
20.
Okay, I have a question as well. I have a couple questions, actually.
Eric, go ahead.
Okay, my two questions I have is there's two lines here. So there's 10,000 for what looks to be overtime, and
Right,
then 14,000. What's the difference between the two? Like, is there? It feels like we're doubling up here, and I'm assuming we're not, but
Speed instructor.
Eric, sorry,
go ahead.
14,000 is for the course, the training course. That's what they charge to,
It's 7,000 a session.
yeah.
Yeah.
okay. And to Commissioner Stady's a follow-up on his question, is this an annual training or is this a one-time
No.
deal?
This is a one-time deal.
All right, so, and I know everybody knows my penchant for operating money versus one-time expenditures. If these are one-time costs, they shouldn't be in the operating budget. They should be paid for through a different means.
Eric, I disagree with you on that. I think as an operational need, the training can come and go, but it doesn't really fit under a capital or otherwise reserve fund request. I respectfully disagree.
Okay,
think
so then the only way, so then if we increase the two lines by the amounts that are being asked for, then the assumption would be next year we would reduce those two lines by the same amounts.
Right, that's right. It might be something, though, if I may. I know my brother used to do OSHA training, and I got it done myself. I was lucky to have it. It's something you could probably do every couple of years, and I'm sure your certification has to be renewed. So it might be something we may want to build into our budget, Eric, and have it like every other year, something that I understand your point. I know where you're going, but it's a one-time cost this year. Next year it would go down. The following year pass back in. That's why I was asking, politely, is it mandated or suggested? Strongly
Okay.
suggested.
Okay.
Great idea. It's a great, it protects us.
Oh,
But I mean, it might be like a yo-yo. It might go up and down every other year,
right. And I agree with that. I think it's definitely something that needs to be done. There's no question. And if our intention is to keep this on the books to either renew these certifications or have the funds to, as we bring new people in, as people rotate, through attrition or whatever situation might happen, then that's fine. I'm okay with that. I just didn't realize if this was a one-time deal or if this is something that we're actually planning on building in for future needs as well.
Well, actually, it's a good point. You're right. Because then we're training, John, I would assume, the staff you have at this time at this place. But then what happens when you have people retire and new people get hired? So probably this could be an annual thing. This might be an annual expense we'll have to build in. It's a good point, Eric. Yeah.
Thank
In that
you.
regard, it's not a capital, all right? It would be an annual thing.
No,
It might just go up
absolutely.
and down a little bit, but it would have to be probably budgeted that for the new workers, they get trained. When would you be looking at doing this, John? When would this be, like in the fall, or do you have an idea? When's it off?
Sometime this summer, I believe,
Okay, okay,
would be, if we can get it all together with the company that's
sure.
to be training. But
Yeah.
it's beneficial to us because I've had, I don't know how many guys I've had on. I've had guys out on workers' comp for 5 years
That's my next question.
for a knee. For a knee. Not one, not two, but three of them.
Yeah.
And that costs us a lot of money.
Sure. No,
We're
it's,
not an
it's,
insurance company.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we can save 3 or 4 guys from getting hurt and going on a workers' comp, that this 20,000 is not going to mean anything compared to what they'd get in 5 years.
Incidentally, Commissioner Stady, the engineering department does do OSHA training. In fact, I believe they're
Okay.
doing it this week, aren't they?
Mhm. Yeah.
great. Good.
They were doing it at the school. I know that.
Yeah, the schools this week, yeah.
Yeah, the school had it. The Aggie School has an OSHA training class. But see, I can't get my employees together on that because they're all working.
During the day, right?
And they're working at night and they're working during the day. So the only day that available to them would be Saturday, and where they're gonna be getting paid, they'd be more than happy to. So,
Okay.
My only other fault,
you don't, it's just something I wanted to do, and hopefully you approve it. If you don't, we'll do something else.
my one follow-up to that also is,
Go ahead, Eric.
I believe it was Commissioner Shea that mentioned about the overtime and whether or not that budget has been expended for like year over year.
I
know
have those figures here, I believe. Eric,
Generally, overtime is budgeted, but not necessarily all used. So I guess the question is, how close are we year over year? Do we normally have $10,000 or $20,000 left in the overtime budget, and do we need to increase that line, or can we come back for a supplemental after the fact if we need it?
54,000. Okay, but I think we have those figures. I mean, without the caveat of snow, et cetera, but I'm going to ask Director Cronin to comment on that, and then I have a comment.
It appears as though we funded overtime at $118,000 in FY '22. Is that correct?
22? That was only
Current.
3.
I got it
Current year.
at 15, wasn't it?
21. Oh, this is for next year.
It was 113.
I don't know why that budget is, what is it? Oh, I know why, because in the temps would be working overtime. So I wanted to charge it to the overtime account. So we pulled a switch, we pulled it out, excuse me, we pulled it out of permanent salaries and increased that.
Gotcha. Okay. But the base is that.
Base is 103.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Eric, the base spending is 103 typically. And they're budgeting now for next year at 113, a $10,000 bump for this purpose.
Okay.
Okay.
And Eric, in 18, we spent 1028. In 19, we spent 1026.
So we're running pretty close.
And
Very.
Okay.
in 2020, we were at 51 in July, so it was 108.
All right.
So we're certainly not way over there. And I know, I shouldn't say unfortunately, I know salaries have changed, except,
I always try to keep it within reason, I don't abuse the overtime, and
no,
I do. it
No,
when I
that's
have
great.
to.
I mean, if you're running pretty close to budget, that's a pretty good indication that you're running, that
That's
you're
good.
you're controlling it pretty well. So I commend you on that. So I'm good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
okay, go ahead. I have a specific question. I want to stay in personal services,
All right.
overtime and longevity. I noticed longevity is up $2,000. I assume that reflects people been here longer. Some people hit their goal. What do you get? Longevity at 5, 10, 15, and 20, and that's it. You don't get any more. So as people move up, so I don't believe that's out of line. The hazmat stipend has stayed the same. Now I'm going to ask a question John alluded to the people that are out. I noticed there's 40 jobs listed in the front here. And there's 33 that have a name. I'm sorry, what's that question?
That was you.
That was me, I'm sorry. One, in the first page, there's 40 jobs with 33 names, and then there's two categories, John. Explain to us what vacant means and what pending means. In your mind, I noticed there's an asterisk, but I can't find what the explanation. Pending and, well, senior building custodian, it says pending. That's the first one. Roving utility work is vacant. What's the difference?
That's where you haven't, those are jobs that are being filled by temporary people.
Okay,
You're not, you
that's
didn't,
the answer. Okay, go ahead. And I'm going to explain that.
yeah, you haven't posted those jobs there. You're filling them with temporary help. So I gotta leave them open.
It was posted.
Yeah, posted as temporary. They weren't posted as senior building
Okay,
or roving utility or plumber. They're temporary jobs.
That's right. That's right. We haven't made them permanent yet. That's right.
every job that's been filled in this department since last July has been temporary.
That's right.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, just for this budget purpose.
Yeah.
We understand it. Some people don't, but in our minds, this is based on an effort to get our arms around it, get our arms around any changes that are going to be made. And I believe, I can't speak for the other commissioners, that it is our intention to probably do away with the term temporary after July 1st, when this budget is fully up and adopted. I mean, it is our goal, regardless of how many of the recommendations of the Abrams group we adopt.
And all those jobs they've been budgeted at the low grade and step.
They're all at the
Yeah, so
basic
it's
low
like a
grade
brand new
tech.
person coming
So
in, right?
the 30-year man leaves, and I think someone just left from the Rentham Court, for lack of a name. I know we wished him well, et cetera.
Tom
Someone been,
Brennan, yes.
Tom Brown, been there for 30 years. He's been replaced by a temporary
Right,
person,
and when someone comes in, they'll come in at 9.3, which is a,
At the lower rate.
and the 9.9 is the highest. I don't know if it's
Exactly.
9.9 or
so
9.
3 is the lower.
Okay, so folks, do we understand that when a 9.9 leaves, if that's the term for the highest paid custodian, is replaced by someone right now temporary, and then when we shuffle everyone around and bid them, they'll still be at the lower rate, the new people.
Which will come in a little
Which,
higher money wise.
Right.
Because the temporary's. at
It's higher than the
$18.
temporary, but it's not
Right,
as high
exactly.
as the person they,
Yes, so there is
okay.
a savings.
And
there.
there'll be no longevity for them. Is
No,
not for,
So the
And they don't
custodian,
get,
that-
no one gets longevity till they're here 5 years.
yeah.
Okay, I think that's a basic pretty much everywhere, but we paid attention to it, and I think that's what these figures reflect. That's why they're not way out of whack, so to speak.
I don't get it anymore either. Longevity.
yes, you do.
I'm over 20. Right.
You're gonna get
You're
anything
maxed
new.
out. Yeah,
I'm maxed
maxed
out.
out.
I don't get any extra.
No more extra, right?
Okay,
Get him a cup of coffee or something.
All right, next.
go ahead, on your list.
The next is,
Staying in personnel now. I'm gonna read the other stuff.
I'm not in. I'm not in.
Well, the elevator repair, hold on, the elevator repair and
All right.
what happened to that?
All right, before we start now, I'm looking at everything that Bill had put up on the screen, and we're talking about fuel. Let me just go down them quick, and if we have a comment, we can talk about it. The first one is electricity. It's at 460,000. They're not asking for any increase in electricity. So 460,000 remains constant for the last 3 years. The next is fuel. It was 80. He's asking for 10, for 90. We understand that. I think it's reasonable and understood. And what are we going to do about the price of fuel? Next, he's holding the line on rubbish removal is at 25,000. This is in all our buildings. Is that a bid operation? We don't remove the
Yes.
rubbish.
It's a bit.
An outside, okay.
Yeah.
Miscellaneous professional and tech is 10,000. There's no change there. Roofing is 40,000. There's no change there. Education of employees is up because that's the 14,000 for the OSHA instructors. Next, snow removal is staying at 150. Moving right along, the next category is air conditioning repair. This is something that comes up every year, particularly in the Quincy District Court. We keep our fingers crossed. It's at 85,000. There's no increase there. Elevator repair, I'm going to ask you to comment on, John. It's up 5,000. Go ahead.
That's because of the increase in inspectors. They charge more money now than they did.
Yeah, it's
Last year.
licensing fees and inspection fees.
We just got through having some inspection done in this building too, right?
Mhm.
And Superior. It's
Oh,
an
yes.
increase in their,
So
what
the
they
state increased all the fees to do all the inspections. That's up 5,000. Next category, no change, is pest control, $9,000 a year. Sewer repair, $9,000 a year, no increase. Hazardous materials, 11,000, no increase. Pneumatic controls, 7,000, no increase. Fire protection services, 30,000, no increase. Miscellaneous building repair, 30,000, no increase. Equipment not classified, 3,000, no increase. Travel inside, automotive repair, 3,000, no increase. The next one is non-classified equipment is up 1,500. What's a brief explanation?
I have equipment here under code 5599, an increase of 8,000. That's to purchase miscellaneous stuff during the year. It's-
Yeah,
Just
last
what
year,
category is
last
that?
year
What's up?
5599.
Which is, yeah, I'm looking at it.
Last year, we had a line item for $8,000 for a snow thrower. And we
Okay,
ended up
Yeah,
keeping
I
it
remember.
back. But last year's budget also should have reflected $8,000 in code 5599, which has been there for years. We always get $8,000, but it was omitted last year.
Was it grabbed into,
The snow thrower, I think, is what
Capital?
happened. Yeah, well, the snow thrower was.
Yeah.
But the original 5599 miscellaneous equipment has always been there to buy snow blowers, lawnmowers,
Yeah,
vacuum
vacuums.
cleaners.
stuff like that.
So that's that line item I'm requesting be put back in.
Okay, everyone understand that? Didn't we buy a new snow thrower last year and take the old one and send it to the agricultural school? Or is that 2 years ago now?
No, that was the Bobcat.
The
Oh,
Bobcat.
yeah.
Yeah, that was different.
Did you get a new Bobcat in this
Well, we got a
existing budget?
used Bobcat.
All right,
This one we got now
it's
is
working fine, right?
working
It's a
fine.
John
Okay.
Deere, much better.
Yeah, John Deere is,
Automotive supplies, no change. Construction supplies and material, no change. Hardware, plumbing supplies, no change. Painting supplies, no change. Electrical supplies, no change. And I might add, as I'm reading down, folks, there is money left this year in all of these categories, almost exclusively. There are some that are 100% expended, but nothing, we had this looked at earlier, nothing was way out of whack yet, but I'll continue along. Cleaning materials and supplies. Am I reading this that you're going down 10 grand?
No, I'm staying level funded at 45.
Go ahead. Would you explain that one? I'm reading it wrong then. It says 5346
Yep, the 23 department request is 45,000.
and it was 35 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, that went up because of the COVID supplies that we had.
Okay. All right. We're up 10 grand in cleaning supplies and materials
from 2 years ago.
from 2 years ago. Okay.
Level funded, let's level fund it. It's
Yeah,
the same amount.
I'm just
Okay.
trying to, I don't think we ever went over in the last couple of years like this, and I'm almost done. Then we can go back and ask another questions. Employees' uniforms is
17,000.
same as last year.
Yep, same as last year, yep.
Licenses and permits is the same.
Yes,
Rental of equipment is the same. Taxes, sewer, water. We pay for our water, the town, the Dedham Water District, correct?
Yeah, it's the same as last year.
Right, but we have no control over the,
No, no.
okay, okay. So that comes out to 3541363, and it's up from. Actually, I'm reading it, it's down. No, it's up.
It's up.
That whole thing is up $21,000 in 1 year,
Well,
which,
that has a lot, this has a lot to do with it. It's, OSHA money and,
Yeah, OSHA.
yeah, that has a lot to do with it. The increase in, elevator repair and contractual services.
okay, what's your next subject, John, that you want to comment on before we ask another question?
Did I mention the contractual services 299 increase of 5,000?
No, go ahead and do it.
That's for the additional service contracted such as the security system for this building here. I think we,
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a quarterly type
Something.
bill for,
Why don't you explain that, John?
Yeah, it has to be, it has to be checked every so often, right? I think.
yeah, there's like access, I'm not sure what it is.
Okay,
It's
does the advisory board know that we have key card access now to this building? I don't know, Elizabeth, this is an addition that we did, but it's going to be housed in your budget, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, go ahead.
So the commissioners approved and the advisory board approved the installation of a new
Right.
security system here at 614 High Street. It's a card reader system and monitoring system. It is a software, and it will need to be updated and maintained annually, and this is the cost to do that. I believe this is the last building to be armed, is that correct? Everywhere else is armed, isn't it? All the courts are,
Superior's not.
Superior's not.
No.
it is not,
No.
okay. Good to know.
Superior's not. No, they're not.
No,
Every other
Denham
building
district
is.
is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe so. Rentham has a key, number punch, I think, right?
Yeah.
The punch in it.
Cipher, okay.
But Superior doesn't have any kind of,
Anything, yeah.
anything like that.
Right, and this service is not a monitoring service. We're not paying the company to monitor the alarm here. If there's a problem, the alarm goes to, I believe, Mark McDonald. And if he finds that there's a reason for any intervention, he'll call 911. But generally, the service is on the software. That's it.
Well, sometimes they're not, like in the registry, we have to get somebody in the blobs don't work. There's something wrong with the
Software, yeah.
Reader.
They come
the
in, yeah.
reader.
Yeah.
So,
That would cover this. This is maintenance.
Yeah. all right. The last one I have is during this season in Rentham Court, it's shown to me that I've had IBS down there, our contractor, that takes care of all our boiler work and stuff. And what's happening is it's got a pretty significant leak in it and needs to be repaired. But it costs a lot of money to have it repaired, which I think we'd be better off putting a new boiler in it. I know we have it ready. Everything's supposed to be ready to go with Stoughton Court. We put aside 200,000. I think it'll be better spent looking into Rentham, replacing that boiler first. The Stoughton's boiler is running with no problem. The one in Rentham
Has issues.
is pouring water out of it. Similar to what happened over here in Registry. And I also made a call to a vendor about that boiler for Rentham, for the Registry, and still scheduled to be on the end of the month. And I told him this is the end of the month. So
It's got a week to go.
I don't know. Hopefully we get that job taken care of in another couple of weeks, but I don't think that's going to happen. We're making out all right with the weather-wise, and John, we're having the boiler put back together, and I think we're in good shape for the rest of the month. Next month, I don't see any problem. We can, even if we have to do it, we'll want to get it done before next heating season, that's for sure. And I don't understand why it's taking so long to get this boiler. It's been almost
6 months.
7 months.
Yeah.
All of that.
You ordered in
Yeah.
June, didn't you?
Yeah, we ordered it in June and we still haven't have it. I don't know if it's on a ship out there in San Francisco or what. But that's what I propose to you, to make a decision whether you want us to do the Stoughton boiler or the Rentham boiler. I suggest doing the Rentham boiler because what did it cost to fix it? You'll probably get a new boiler. And it only gonna chasing bad money, I think. And well, it's one-
Is that a budget item, or would you bring that in separate regardless? If it wasn't budget season, you'd be here asking for the money in another format.
Yeah, I'd be asking, well, if something happens to that boiler, I'm gonna have to ask
Correct.
for a money.
Just like with Dedham, we
But I
had
think-
Dedham 2 years ago.
I think we have it in the budget.
You think-
We have this money set aside, 200,000.
Right.
Capital budget.
Yeah.
Capital spending money, we can use it. It'll be better served than Rentham.
Flipping to rent them.
Okay, we can make that decision then.
That's up to you,
I may separate that from the budget and make it regardless.
unless you want, because I know it's gonna cost a lot of money to fix that boiler. And who knows what's gonna happen to it in another, next heat season.
Right.
It's that old, you know?
Director Cronin, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Mr. McGowan's point, this is a capital item, which I'm grateful he's bringing forward, and he's accurate. We are carrying a sum of money in our FY 23, I think, is it 23? FY 23 capital budget. It can be switched. We'll need some approvals, obviously, from the Finance Committee and the Advisory Board when we get there this June. But one of the things I want to let you know in the Finance Committee as well, I'm looking at several facility projects that might be right for ARPA. Boiler replacement is not explicitly available under infrastructure improvements. It has to have the benefit of improving air quality. So we've run into a problem using ARPA in that path, John. But there is a different path, and we're examining revenue loss right now as an option. There are a lot of strings attached to that category, but I'm very optimistic that the county will have a path to using revenue loss to attend to projects that don't otherwise fit directly into the other 5 categories in ARPA. So this particular item would be at the top of the list, as well as Superior Court, which I know we've talked about, additional cooling and air cleaning systems. We'll have a conversation about the FY 23 capital budget and the plan of how some of those items can land in ARPA probably in the next couple of months. But we have options, and I think we'll optimize ARPA to our benefit once we get clarity on the revenue loss rule that is pending. Okay. But either way, I think we have a path ahead to do this. So just want to lay out the options.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Stady.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. So through you to John and John. So we've already got the money in the budget to take care of a boiler, if I'm hearing you right. And what our department head is suggesting is we put the money towards Rentham rather than Stoughton. Is there any thought then, as Stoughton is precarious as well, to plan ahead and make a money categorization of the boiler for Stoughton for next year? Put that in the 23 capital. Could we do that? That way Stoughton has you're planning ahead rather than just,
So
hoping for the best.
in short, I'm optimistic, Commissioner, that ARPA can be used for both projects. That's my that's my preference, and I do think it would save the county nearly $500,000 by the time.
Okay,
we're done.
okay. All right.
And we'll do them simultaneously. I think that would be the smart thing to do. But if we
Okay.
have to choose, if we don't get a path, Commissioner, through revenue loss, and we have to use capital resources, the FY 23 capital plan, which was delivered to the commissioners in late October, was just the draft. We're going to revisit it in May with the Finance Committee, the Advisory Board, and the commissioners for approval. So we'll know by then, Commissioner Stady, on whether or not revenue loss is an option. If it's not, we'll have to revisit how the FY23 capital plan works and what those priorities will include.
Okay, but in the interim, does John McGowan need a decision from us relatively soon on whether to go forward with Rentham or Stoughton? Or has he
No.
made that decision?
No, this is strict planning. There are no decisions that need to be made at this time.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay,
That's all I have right now.
okay. I want to briefly touch on the part about, when we talked about vacancies and hiring some people temporary, we also mentioned that we have some people out on comp, for lack of a better word. I'm not sure it's all comp cases, but without getting into the personalities of the persons, how many people we have out on comp?
I
And
don't think we
how
have
long-
any
Right
right
now,
now.
nobody-
No,
Just had one come back not too long ago.
so everyone's
Everybody's
back. I know the painter was out briefly.
He's back,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's back.
he's back.
I know the commission spent some time last year on working with a night custodian at Quincy. Is he back? He came back and went out again?
No, not yet.
Okay. How much of a detriment, if you would have a guesstimate? Last year or the year before, how best to, without depriving anyone of their rights here, in the courts and whatever board it goes before industrial. I know it takes a long, long time because we were around and around in the last 5 years with one or two cases.
Yeah.
It's an extreme budget buster because we have to replace these people either on overtime or what's, temporaries or whatever. We've chose temporary, but I know the word is not universally accepted around here. But
Once something like that happens, Mr. Chairman, I have to move people around to
Yeah.
cover that. Like I said, I've had guys out for 5 years. I've had guys out for 2 years, 3 years. Since I've been here, I've been a lot of guys been out.
so right now, today, there's no one.
There's no one out.
Okay,
No.
all right, then I don't want to further the question. I think it's worth always visiting with our labor council and being aware of it because particularly, I know you have to, do you replace everyone? Like if the painter was out, do you replace him or do you?
Yes.
You do, okay,
I have
know
to send
custodians
somebody to cover the building
okay.
that he was in.
Okay. All right, I don't have another question on that. I'm gonna open it up a little to the advisory board if they have any questions through Elizabeth, but we have some overview questions that were in the findings of the Abraham's report that are the subject of some discussion. I'm not sure till we do the whole budget that we can bring some of this to a head because some of it laps over to other departments, particularly the school. But if anyone wants to ask any questions on it now, John clearly has answered them for us in a memo that I supplies everyone with dated November 10th of 2021, which is when we asked the department heads for their comment. And they're pretty straightforward and some of it has to do with the reimbursement we get from the state. The formula in which court work is done has nothing to do with other buildings like the school. And trying to get our arms around that. And I'm looking to Director Cronin for some of this is quite difficult. You realize, of course, we get reimbursed for a certain amount of time and manpower and product that we put into the courts. It's around 78%. I think that's the formula.
Something like that.
It's a long process. We've had a good relationship with the state. In the recent past, not way back, because for a while they were slow and it was made money very difficult. But the last couple of years, everything's gone very smoothly as far as our relationship with them. They accept most everything we send to them. This comes under Phil pretty much for the last reasonable time that I know of, and he's got a good handle on it, and we're where we want to be. The question is, Abraham's found some ideas and brought up some things, and I'm not sure that they fully understood the manner in which the reimbursement was made. There's no reimbursement at the school, of course, from the state. So if you're talking about supplying our maintenance department to the schools, the argument seems to be that that would throw the state money off and throw the manner in which we do it. So it's still on the table, but it's a complex issue. But I intend to keep it on the table and try to work it out as long as I can. But I think it's going to come up again and again, and it's probably going to come up when the school comes in. Their outlook is a little different than the maintenance outlook, but in the general, they don't have, they don't paint a rosy picture either. But again, change comes difficult, but the commissioners haven't thrown anything out on any one of these arguments yet. But this budget process is going to vet a lot of this stuff, and that's what we're here for. So I'm anxious to hear if anyone has any comments at all. I mean, we're not going to make decisions today. We're not fully equipped to make them. We're going to make them in a timely manner. But our intention at the first go around is to take everything under advisement. But everything's on the table. This isn't our largest department, certainly, but it's a very, very key department. Overall, this is a department like the fire department in your town. You don't need a fireman until there's a fire. You don't need you don't think you need the maintenance department until you have COVID or you have a thunder or you have a snowstorm, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think anyone here takes them for granted. We all have public experience and you all have maintenance custodians throughout your town, so you understand what it is. But it's a numbers game, and we want to look to streamlining it and doing the best we can. Any other questions or any comments? I think Carl is here now too, so we have a full group from the advisory board. Hi, Carl.
Hello, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Sorry, I tuned in late. So
No, we didn't get started. You haven't missed much, but you've been here for most of it anyway.
Okay, very good. I don't have any comments right now.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else does from the finance committee, but this is probably our opportunity if we want to say something.
You're going to be here for the maintenance team.
Eric,
Mr. Chair.
you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think at this point, I'm okay with what's been presented. I just have to look it over a little bit more, but yeah.
Okay, all right. Paul, are you okay with what's presented? Any other questions?
I too am okay with it, but I am on the same page as Commissioner Stady. I didn't get the operational number. I got salaries only on the budget.
As did I.
All right, we'll correct that and get that right out. It's quite lengthy. I think you looked at what Bill had put up, but
I know,
that's
but it was
the one
very
I read
small.
down, but you really need to have it in front of you, and I apologize, but
Exactly. We're not voting on it this afternoon anyway. We're
No,
just getting
not at all.
the
Not at all.
presentation.
we're
Chairman
gonna go
Ritter,
right through everyone, and you're gonna be, I believe, Elizabeth, we're gonna do this every week. Some weeks are gonna be longer than others.
we are for
Right.
3 weeks. We've got 3 weeks here. We're going to do it. So to make sure we get our finance committee members so we can hear it once and not have to ask everybody to repeat everything. Chairman Reardon, how about you? Do you have any other comments, thoughts?
Yes, please, through you, Chair Shea. Superintendent, thank you. Appreciate the presentation. I have a question, and maybe this may be directed to the county director, but in terms of training, it was mentioned the engineering department at OSHA training. I'm sure people at the Aggie have to have OSHA training. Is there a centralized training that comes out of the commissioner's office, or is anything that can be coordinated that way so that it can be done all at once by everybody and keep in compliance and do what needs to be done for safety and the like?
So to answer your question, Joe, the commissioner's office does not have a centralized training budget. I don't know, perhaps you do, John McGowan, maybe you know, but I believe the OSHA training is specialized to the industry that they're training to. So for example, if you're a landscaper or groundskeeper, you're probably getting a certain type of OSHA training. The engineering department has very different duties, and I would imagine their training is specialized to them. I can certainly look into it, though. I understand the gist of what you're trying to get to. Clearly, anyone's, if we're sending, a dozen or so people to a training, there's got to be some inherent efficiencies there. And I think it's worth looking into. We can certainly talk about that should this number prevail for FY23 to optimize the county's resources. But just to answer your question, there is no consolidated training number in the commissioner's budget. They are hosted in the individual budgets where the skill sets reside.
Thank you. I just didn't know if there was a central kind of clearinghouse, if you will, for all that, because I'm sure, and Superintendent, you'd know better than me, but I'm sure some of you people have licenses for which they need to prove that they've had OSHA training and things like that, just to kind of on kind of a black and white situation where you know who's done it, who hasn't, and things like that, and have it all consolidated, because if someone didn't have a license, that would go up through HR and just one of those things. So I just threw that out there.
I think if that probably does it for the finance committee, Commissioner Shea, I think we're probably all set.
Okay, well, we're going to go back to our regular agenda, beginning with whole business. You're certainly welcome to wait to listen, but we have some pretty standard stuff. And we're going to be ending today with an executive session. We're talking to our attorney relative to bargaining, et cetera. But we probably have another best of an hour, but we're going right to it.
Thank you so much for having us. I just want to ask those of you who are the parliamentarians, do I need to do a roll call to adjourn the finance?
I believe you do. And why don't we do it on the safe side?
Okay,
Again,
all right, we'll do this just perfectly.
you
Okay,
don't really have to leave, though. If you want to listen to the rest of the meeting, you're more than welcome.
okay, all right. So do I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
So moved.
And a second? Great, thank you. Okay. So Carl,
Aye.
Eric Beckerman,
We now return you to your commissioners meeting. Yes.
Paul,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you so much for having us. Join you.
See you all
Hi,
later.
everybody.
Next
Thank you,
week is the
everyone.
engineering
Good
department.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, if I may, real quick, before he leaves, I want to commend Mr. McGowan and the staff for presenting the information. And you said it was our first one. I think it went well. I think the procedure went well, and we had some good questions raised. And thank you for attending to them. So I would overall, top of my head, it looks good, looks supportable. Modest increases based upon education. So it looks like it's something we can support. But obviously, we're going to withhold vote until a later date. But thank you, John, and your staff. Nice job.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay,
All set.
thank you, John and Sheila. We'll see you in the snow.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we're back on the record at our Wednesday, February 23rd meeting of the Norfolk County Commissioners and the Advisory Board. And the next item for the commissioners is old business. Item number 3, I have none. Commissioner Director Cronin?
No old business.
We have no old business. Next is item number 4, personnel considerations. We have a number of them, Commissioner. We have 5 in the Wallaston Recreation Facility, 1 in the Treasurer's Office, and 2 in the Commissioner's Office.
Mr. Chairman, through you, I'll take Wallaston Recreational Facility up first. I'll move notice of termination of Maximilian Mijal of Milton, Mass. as a seasonal grounds crew person for the rate stated effective March 1, 2022. Notice of termination of Sean Glennon of Dedham, Mass. for a seasonal grounds crew effective March 1, 2022. Third, notice of termination of James J. Collins of Milton, Mass. as seasonal grounds crew effective 3/1/2022. And notice of termination of Robert D. Boer, I hope I have that right, of Avon, Mass. as a seasonal ranger effective 3/1/2022. So all of those motions for Wallaston Recreational
I will
Facility.
second 4 on that from Wallaston Recreation. All terminations, all in favor? Aye, it is a
Aye.
vote. 1 in the Treasurer's Office.
Right. Notice of ARPA grant salary increase for Joseph Doria of Braintree, Mass. Assistant Treasurer, effective January 1, 22.
I'll second that motion on the motion of the salary increase for opera grant work for Joseph Doria of Braintree, Assistant County Treasurer. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It is a
I
vote.
thought we had voted, Mr. Chairman, I thought we voted this last week, but if not, I'm just gonna go
We
with the flow.
voted the
But-
concept and the money, but we didn't do the blue papers. Today is the actual paperwork.
All right, by the way, you have my permission to use my
your
stamp for any
That was gonna
documents you
be my
need.
next question.
You have that. So granted.
Thank you.
Commissioner's Office, notice of opera grant salary increase for John Cronin of Holliston, Mass. as County Director. That is to be effective January 1, 22. And also for the opera grant salary increase for William Buckley, J. Buckley Jr. of Walpole, Mass., the Assistant County Director, again, effective January 1, 2022.
A notice of a grant increase, an opera grant salary increase for John Cronin as County Director, and a notice of an opera grant salary increase for William Buckley as Assistant County Director as their work involves opera work. All in favor? I
Aye.
second the motion. All in favor? Aye, it is a vote.
Aye.
Thank you. We're going to move to number 5. I have it here. Payroll
Okay.
and expense warrant. I'll read it in the motion, and you can make the secondary. First one is
All right.
22-34 county payroll today, $131,426.77. I'll make that motion.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor? Aye, it is a vote. Next is item 22-34, school payroll, $338,529.61. I'll make a motion pass.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, it is
Aye.
a vote. Next is county expense dated 2/4/22, $506,416.46. I'll make a motion not to pass.
Second, Mr. Chairman. I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye, it is a vote.
Aye.
And thirdly, 22-08D, expense at the school in the amount of $30,173,000.34. I'll make a motion not to pass.
Okay.
Seconded. All in favor? Aye, it is a vote. That includes payroll and expense warrant. I might add that with us today is our business manager of our school and Chris Goldsmith from our RSVP program, which brings me to item number 6. We have a proclamation of AmeriCorps Senior Week for the county beginning March 13th. If Commissioner Stady, you could read that, or is Chris going to read it?
Whatever's a pleasure, Mr. Chairman. Up to you.
It's in your package. Chris, your comment on this, and then we'll go to the commission.
You want me to read it? Whatever. Chris,
I'll
want to read
let
it?
Chris
That's fine.
first talk about it, and then you can
Sure.
read it. How's that?
Absolutely.
This proclamation is part of a program that's done annually each year. This is actually the first year that we're doing the program this way. It's part of AmeriCorps Seniors. AmeriCorps Seniors program represents the very best of the spirit and of giving back and coming together as citizens to address the pressing needs of local communities through volunteering and community service. Each year, about 200,000 older Americans, 55 plus, provide service to much needed community at the much needed community level through AmeriCorps Seniors. In Norfolk County, there are about nearly 200 volunteers that are involved in assisting about 35 partner sites in the county, addressing a series of very pressing needs for the county and the 28 towns and cities contained in it. One of the examples of some of the services that they're providing are assisting in COVID relief, providing veteran support to military families, teaching English as a second language to immigrants, alleviating food insecurity, and tutoring or mentoring young children. The proclamation by the Norfolk County Commissioners that Commissioner Stady is going to read is a wonderful way of honoring the spirit and good deeds of local AmeriCorps volunteers, as well as alumni and our valued community partners, for all their positive impact on the communities. The proclamation is a way of saying thank you to our volunteers and service partners. And lastly, it's also a way to meant to encourage others in the community to find their own ways to give back to the community through service. Lastly, I want to say we want to thank the commissioners and Director John Cronin for issuing this proclamation. And I'll take any questions.
Okay, any questions of Chris, Commissioner?
Wonderful.
You feel we want to read the whole thing or just the last paragraph? It is up on the broadcast here. Whatever way you want to do it.
I don't want to shortchange it. I think it's a wonderful thing. I can read very quickly if you want.
Okay, that's fine. That's
It's,
fine.
whatever you wish, Mr. Chairman.
No,
I think it's
read
just
the-
great that they're doing it. I'll read the proclamation and see how quickly we can do it. Whereas service is a hallmark of the American character and has a unique ability to bring people of all backgrounds together in common cause. And throughout our history, citizens have stepped up to meet our most pressing challenges of the day by volunteering in their communities. And whereas AmeriCorps Seniors provides opportunities for more than 200,000 Americans to serve their country through service at nonprofits, schools, public agencies, and community and faith-based groups across the country. And whereas in Norfolk County, more than 185 AmeriCorps seniors filled volunteer positions, helped to meet local needs at more than 35 partner sites in the county by responding to COVID-19, tutoring or mentoring children, supporting veterans and military families, teaching English as a second language to immigrants, supporting blood donations, and alleviating food insecurity through Meals on Wheels and food pantry support. Whereas AmeriCorps Seniors volunteers encourage collaboration and partnerships, leveraging millions of volunteers in service and acquiring the support of business, foundations, and other local partners to increase the effectiveness of their initiatives. And whereas AmeriCorps Senior volunteers demonstrate commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making an intense commitment to service, a commitment that remains with them in their future endeavors. And whereas AmeriCorps Senior volunteers strengthen the lives of their families, communities, and Norfolk County as a whole. And whereas National Service represents a unique public-private partnership that invests in community solutions and leverages non-federal resources to strengthen community impact and increase the return on taxpayer dollars. And whereas America Seniors Week is an opportunity to recognize the dedication and commitment of the more than 500,000 Americans who have chosen to serve their country, to AmeriCorps Seniors and their community partners, and to encourage more Americans to follow their footsteps in service. Therefore, be it resolved that we, Joseph P. Shea, Peter H. Collins, and Richard R. Stady, Norfolk County Commissioners, do hereby designate March 13 to 19, 2022 as AmeriCorps Seniors Week in Norfolk County. And we urge citizens to thank AmeriCorps Seniors volunteers for their service and to find their own ways to give back to the communities.
I will second that motion, and we'll take a vote on the Norfolk County Commissioners designate the week of March 13th to the 19th as AmeriCorps Seniors Week in Norfolk County. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
It is a vote.
Wonderful, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Well done.
Number 7, I have a request from the Norfolk and Dedham Insurance Group for use of the county parking lot behind the Registry of Deeds in the afternoon of Thursday, April 14th. We have a letter from Caitlin Pasella, who's our marketing coordinator. We've talked to her before. They will be using about 50 or 60 spaces in the PM on April 14th. Do I have a discussion or any motion?
Sure, that's fine. We've done this before, right, Mr. Chairman?
Right, we've done it quite often. We let everyone know well in advance.
Okay. Through you, Mr. Cronin, Director Cronin, any adverse reports on this?
No,
Any,
the only concern would be it is a work week. The 14th, I believe, is a Thursday. But the communication regarding the request was made through Assistant Director Bill Buckley, so I'll rely on Bill to see if he has any updates to share on the matter.
Okay. I was just asked to make sure that obviously the registry is informed so that they are aware of, what's happening that day.
Yes, always we do.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make the motion to grant the use of the county parking lot behind the registry on the afternoon of Thursday, April 14th for the Norfolk Dedham Group.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we'll have Director Butler look at it and let them know. Thank you. Number 8, bid openings, we have none. Number 9, contract awards, we have none. Number 10, report on the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Director Cronin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very briefly, the county does not have any grant awards pending this week. There are several still in the portal. 3 more joined last week as applications that are making their way towards ultimate approval. So we remain very active. The one update I would like to share with the commissioners is relative to the matter of the final rule impact on several of our communities. As you know, about 2 weeks ago, the commissioners endorsed a letter to the federal delegation, congressional delegation. That letter has had the impact of getting the attention of Senator Markey's office, who I believe is running point and helping to coordinate this matter on behalf of the Norfolk County commissioners and their communities to hopefully get the U.S. Treasury to amend or modify the final rule in such a way to give communities most affected by that final rule impact some flexibility. We last spoke with them last week and told them we were going to survey the Norfolk County communities on how they intended to spend any such revenue loss funds should they receive the revenue. We received minimal feedback, but we shared that with Senator Markey's office last night, I believe. This morning, we received note that he was grateful for the information, is moving quickly to create a draft letter to share with the delegation and move to share with the U.S. Treasury. Incidentally, as the commissioners may know, one of the communities that's most affected by this impact is Braintree. I believe the senator's office has been in regular contact with the mayor's office, the mayor's chief of staff, so that they're aware of our efforts to try to rectify this issue. So at this point, we're monitoring the developments, grateful for the incredibly fast and effective work that the senator's office has done to date. And we'll fill you all in on any developments that happen over the next several days or weeks. That is all.
Excellent.
Any other questions relative to American Rescue Plan Act? Okay, moving right along. Number 11, report on COVID-19 response.
Nothing new, Mr. Chairman, just to report if any departments listening or department heads or employees have an interest in additional testing kits. We still have several remaining from our initial shipment, but at this point, I have no other updates to share relative to COVID-19.
Thank you. Number 12, report of the county director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of very brief points. Contact has been established with the ASME Council 93 Union. As you know, the Commissioner's Office through our Labor Council has been attempting to schedule an entry meeting, and it appears as though we have done that. Our first schedule/ground rule meeting will occur on March 25th. And from there, of course, we'll be negotiating the 3 contracts for the registry, facilities, and engineering. Wanted to share the information on Senator Markey's office, and just to alert you, you will have several budgets coming in next week, more than one, and that includes Wollaston Golf Course, engineering, the commissioners/miscellaneous, as well as the agricultural high school. We're currently putting aside somewhere between an hour to 2 hours of time for you to review those individual. I believe there are 4 budgets next week, so it should be a relatively busy agenda. That's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Stady, I don't have any other items before we go into executive session. I didn't know if you did, but I have nothing of an emergency nature or any news. Can't wait till next week. Bear in
No,
mind.
I'm all set, Mr. Chairman. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Well done.
I'll take a motion to go into executive session, and then we will be returning for adjournment purposes only.
Right.
And after you make the motion, I'm going to ask Assistant Director Buckley to put everyone in the waiting room or terminate them unless they want to come back for adjournment, and invite Director Cronin and Michelle Labadini, as well as Director Buckley, Assistant Director Buckley, to the executive session. I see that our counsel, Scott Lopez, is ready to go. So if you make a motion, we'll go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion that we go into executive session pursuant to general laws, chapter 38, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to pending litigation matters if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the government's litigating position as declared by the commission chair. That's my motion.
Thank you. And we will be returning for adjournment purposes only.
Yes,
There'll
sir.
be no other further business conducted. Now, out of executive session. Bill Buckley, we're going back on full session.
Mr. Chair, you're all set to move to adjourn.
Okay. Having concluded our full meeting today of February 23rd, we want to thank everyone. We want to thank our advisory board, budget committee, department heads, and we have completed an executive session to talk about litigation. If we have no further meeting, I'll take a motion to adjourn our regular meeting today.
Just for a quick, if I could, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, yes.
So
Commissioner.
next week we have 4 groups coming in,
Correct.
right, for the budget? All right. And that will be with the finance committee as well.
Yeah,
right?
all of the 3 sessions are going to be with the finance committee. We're going to give it a try.
Could be a long day. Any thought, well, maybe starting early? I think we could start right at 1 o'clock. Start the normal time?
Yeah. You want to start an hour early? I mean, we haven't told them that. I mean.
Yeah,
we
that
could
may
do
not be
it
fair to
we
them.
could do
But
two
that,
ways.
yeah, that
If
may
we
not be fair
start
to
an
them.
hour early, we could get rid of all of our regular sessions.
Yeah, but then, well, let's go with we'll go with it. Go stay with the one,
All
because it may
right.
not be fair to them as well. That's not fair if they want to be joining us and things like
Yeah,
that.
I think
So,
some of them
all
have
right.
made plans for 1 o'clock for 3 weeks.
Okay. All right. That's it. I think the meeting went well. And again, congratulations and blessings on
Thank
your new
you.
addition, your family. It's great. Great news. With that,
All
I'll
right.
move to adjourn at
Okay.
3:02.
All in favor? Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.
Okay. Great job. Thanks, everybody.
Hey.
Thank you.